Time for a Land Rover update. So, how's she been doing? Pretty damn good. First thing I want to mention is the smoking problem that I had when it first started up. There were a couple of people asked about that. K Plus and a chap called Andrew Barton gave me a really useful link as well, which I'll put in the description for this video as well. And on that link it mentioned various symptoms and what their causes would be when it comes to smoking engines. Now I would say about 90% of the smoking problem's gone away just by doing some proper driving, which is great. It still has a slightly rhythmic cough, and that I believe is down to the timing chain needing adjustment. So I've driven this now plenty and it's done really well, apart from the brakes, which we'll come to. But I haven't done a service for the valve clearances or for the timing chain yet, which is something I must do. Once I've done that, I think it will run really nicely. So let's see if I can get a quick look at that. It's quite subtle now, it's more pronounced before, but I think that is a slightly loose timing chain. Generally though, it's running really well. And the noise is very different to the 200 TDI that was in there before. To my ear, it's a much nicer, pleasant sound. And that's the difference between an indirect injection and direct injection engine. The direct injection 200 TDI is more clattery, I suppose. Or that's just my perception of it. This sounds an awful lot like my tractor, which I like. So I think the last video I made on this, it was probably in June, the height of summer, and it was blisteringly hot, and now we're right in the middle of autumn and it's horrible. One of the first things I did was change the diff. I was running on a Range Rover diff in the rear, and no, that just didn't work at all. So we're on the original diffs now, and it's really good, and you just get used to going everywhere at a sedate pace, and it seems fine. I've gone 100 miles or so, and it's, in a trip, and yeah, not a problem. So I did wonder what the power issue would be like, because obviously this engine is much feebler than the 200 that was in there before. I didn't have the turbo on the 200, it was still had a vastly more torque to it. But this is fine, you just got to work the gears a bit more. And yeah, with the original diffs in there, as long as you're not in a hurry to go anywhere, you can still manage a massive trailer behind, as you'll see in some of the footage coming up. So that's all peachy. So the only real issue I've had with this was with the braking system, and I'll show you some footage of how I resolved that. I was going to replace the master cylinder, but it turned out I think I'd ordered the wrong part. I went through the whole fitting process and then couldn't get the pipes to couple up again. Turned out different threads, so beware of that if you go and order a master cylinder. I ended up cleaning out the old one, and it's worked fine since. I think the issue was with the master cylinder, some crap getting in from the little bean can reservoir that sits on top and is shared between the clutch and the brake. I suspect some debris got from that into the master cylinder and stopped the valve working properly. That's my guess, but it's fine now. It's been yeah, it's fine. I did look into getting another bean can reservoir, and they're like 100 quid, which is absurd. So I'm just hoping now I've cleaned that one out and it should be okay, and yeah, we'll see, I guess. So I'll drop that footage in now, and then if you make it through to the end, or you can just skip to the end, I'll put in some footage of me actually driving this around, towing my various trailers, putting it to good use. So I put the new cylinders and new shoes on here. What I didn't do was chamfer the shoes. and I didn't do that because I forgot, and it does seem a bit odd that you get a new part and then you have to modify it before it actually works, but that seems to be where we're at with this. So, having done 100 miles or so, which is normally what you'd need to bed in some shoes, this shoe here is showing somewhere here and here on these corners, but it seems to be pressing just on the leading edge. So what I've done is this is what's advised in the Series 2 forum. Let's see if we can get this showing up properly. So this one, wearing this of course, because I don't know what brake shoes are made of these days, but and I don't think they've got asbestos in anymore. Well, I know they haven't, but whatever it is, I don't want to breathe it in. So yeah, with this on, I used a belt sander and I've chamfered this, so you should be able to see leading and trailing edges, and the corner where the drum goes, that's all been sanded. So that's before and that's after. So here's the crucial bit. Here we go. Leading edge. So you can see here on this one, the one that I haven't touched yet, there's a big square drop off there, and see this one, there's a nice smooth progression. And it seems odd that you're going to have to take away some of the brake pad material to make them work better, but by taking this away, you're enabling the bulk of this to actually contact with the drum and have some effect. The other slight issue that might be causing, well, I'm not sure it'll be causing some problems. This spring here, when I installed that, it goes onto this peg here, and it pulls this peg against the adjuster snail, which is here. I had the spring in front of the snail, and further research says it should be behind. Now I'm going to give myself a bit of a break on this one, because according to the Series 2 forum, which is I would trust beyond anything else really, the manuals tend to have this wrong. So there you go. So yeah, check out Series 2 Club forum. It's called something like that. Search for Series 2 Club and then go to their forum, and that's a wealth of information there. It's a really handy resource. So I'm going to chamfer the rest of the shoes. So I've done that one. I'm going to do the other one and on the other side, put it all back together, and then see if that stops the binding, because it's possible, what I'm wondering is, it's possible that the shoes are not moving in and out enough because they're actually jammed up against the drum. You know, there's hardly any movement in there. That may be the cause of the pressure that's building up in the system. So before I go and change out the master cylinder, I'm going to go for all this and see if that helps. I mean, this needs doing anyway, it turns out. That's what happens when you're not involved in Land Rovers for a bit. You forget all the joyful little quirks. Right. So here's what I'm on about with this is the snail adjuster here, and you adjust that from the back. And so this shape, the snail shape, can push the shoe out, and that's how you adjust the brakes. So the spring, this spring, the one with the long bit here that holds in the shoe, I had it like that, and according to the forum it should be like that behind. So I'm going to try that when it goes back together. Right, I've sanded both and I've put them back on, and I'll give you a close-up of actually how it goes on there. So having looked at the manual, it's easy to see how I went wrong, because all there is an exploded diagram, and when you look in the text it just says refer to the exploded diagram. So somewhere I've got the actual proper workshop manual, but it's on the computer rather than printed out. But yeah, I think I need to get a printed copy of that now, because that would help. Although, like I say, the Series 2 forum say that manual's incorrect in places as well when it comes to the brakes. Anyway, let's try and see. You might be able to see there behind this shoe, in there, is the adjusting cam, that snail cam, and then behind that is the spring. Now I had the spring going to this hole here before, that hole in the chute. It now goes, you can see the adjuster, and then behind it is the peg, and on that peg is the spring. So I think I said in a previous video that the thing with Land Rover brakes is you can put them together wrongly and they'll still kind of work, and it turns out that's exactly what I did. So yeah, hands up to that one. What's happening as I drive, the brakes work fine, but the pedal return gets less and less, and so it's not letting the pressure out. Putting the brakes on fine, not letting them off. So I'm assuming it's something in here. I did check the pedal height, and the return, you have to have a little bit of play in this, and I adjusted that out properly. And the pedal height is crucial as well, and you need good springs on it to pull the pedal back, and I had all that. Still with this problem. Yay, we're in. Well, it's full of shit. I'm sure I'm going to get a look down there. I don't know if I can just clean it out and it might be alright. Just blended. So the usual failure mode is leakage, but this wasn't leaking, it just wasn't quite working right. Right, see it. Yeah, I'm going to give it a shot. Clean it up, put it back together. Right, that's it. There is one thing I do desperately need to do to it, and that is put a window in. It's getting to the point I have to wear a coat just to keep the rain off me now. So I have got the window here on one of the other doors. And the reason I'm going to use this top instead of buying a new one is this is an rather nice aluminium door top, which is quite unusual. Right, you might be able to see there, down in the gutter, it's completely clogged. So this window, as with the passenger side, is completely seized up. So I've ordered a glazing kit, and when I get a spare moment I'll strip this one down and rework it, and then this top will go on that door, and that'll keep at least some of the weather out. Obviously it's an old Land Rover, it's never going to be weatherproof, is it? So yeah, all in all, it's been a raving success, and it's really good to be able to go to the supermarket and buy as much beer as I like without worrying about trying to fit it all on the back of my motorbike. So that's been super duper. And now I can tow my trailers around again. I can go shift more stuff to the scrapyard and bring more crap back here. It's been boringly reliable. Not like Land Rovers at all. But, right, bonus footage of me driving, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.